kids. I'm reading the story 117, The Resurrection, from the Gospel Story Bible. Here's today's picture. Jesus was dead and buried in a tomb, but that wasn't enough for the Pharisees and chief priests. They went back to Pilate and said, "This man was a fake, but he was still alive. He told people he would rise from the dead after 3 days. If his disciples get into his tomb and steal his body, they will tell everyone that Jesus has risen from the dead. You have to keep that from happening." So Pilate sent some soldiers to make sure the tomb was closed up tightly so no one could get in. While the religious leaders watched, they put a Roman seal on the stone that closed up the tomb and posted their soldiers to guard it. It was early in the morning, the 3rd day after Jesus died. Some women who loved Jesus were taking spices to the tomb to anoint his body. On their way, they asked each other, "Who will roll the stone away for us so we can get inside the tomb?" But they didn't have to worry. For moments earlier, while the guards stood watch, 2 angels came down from heaven. Their bodies shined like lightning, and their clothes were as white as snow. The guards were so afraid that they were shaking. They fell down on the ground as though they were dead. One angel rolled back the stone and sat on it, as a great earthquake shook the ground. Soon the woman arrived and saw the angels with the stone rolled away. "What had happened?" one angel said to the woman. "Do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he has risen, as he said. Come, see the place where he lay." Then the angels instructed the women to tell his disciples that Jesus would meet them in Galilee. When the women went into the tomb, Jesus' body was gone. Quickly, they ran to the disciples. But the disciples found the story hard to believe. Peter and John ran to the tomb to see for themselves. They were inside and saw Jesus' grave clothes lying there, but Jesus himself was gone. That's when they believed that the woman had told them. After the disciples went home, Mary Magdalene, one of the women, stayed outside the tomb, crying. 2 angels came to her and asked, "Why are you crying?" "Someone had taken my Lord away," Mary said, "and I don't know where they had laid him." She had taken the disciples the message, but she hadn't understood it herself. Then Mary turned and noticed a 3rd man standing there. She thought he was the gardener, but then he called her name, "Mary." At once she knew it was the Lord Jesus Christ. She fell at his feet and worshipped him. Jesus said to her, "Do not hold on to me, because I have not yet ascended to the Father. But go to my brothers and say to them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." So Mary returned to the disciples and told them she had seen the Lord. Did you know that Jesus' death and resurrection is the most important part of the whole Bible? Every story in the Bible that took place before Jesus looks forward to his death and resurrection. Every story after Jesus' death and resurrection looks back upon those days to celebrate the good news of the gospel. The Apostle Paul said the resurrection is so important that we are lost without it. Here's the picture again. Let's talk about it. What do you see going on in the picture? What's happening to the soldiers who had been guarding the tomb? Why is Jesus' resurrection so important? I hope you enjoyed today's story.